Well, I'm sitting here right here with Tom Jackson and your host Chris Berman. We're here to talk about the trade deadline has passed, but we want to talk about why do you think it's a lot of trades going on in the NFL? So, Tom, I'm gonna relay it over to you. Why do you think these NFL teams are trading a lot more this season?
I mean, hey, these teams are trying to make a splash, in the league and stuff like that. Obviously, some trades, I think will go well for others. I think some teams and some coaches and some owners, probably reached a little bit. But as time goes on, it's still early in the season. We only at a little bit after the trade deadline, I'm assuming. So
yeah, week 9.
So we're fresh off the trade deadline. It's crazy because normally in the NFL, we really don't see these kind of trades or anything like that. But for some odd reason, this year was a little bit different. So I mean, we'll see how things play out. But obviously, like I said, some trades were bigger than others, and it should be interesting to see how the rest of this plays out.
All right, I'm gonna give you a couple thoughts on a couple of trades that's going on. Joe Flacco for Paxton Lynch. The Ravens wanted to get a little bit younger at quarterback. The Broncos wanted to go back to the Peyton Manning formula with the older quarterback with that strong defense. Out of those two teams trade, who do you think has won the battle? The Broncos are currently at 7-2, and the Ravens are currently at 2-5-1. So right now, who do you think is winning that battle?
It seems like the Ravens, they're probably trying to unload, trying to rebuild. Obviously, when you look at the record, Broncos, they have a history of, bringing in a veteran quarterback and doing, being successful. Obviously, with a 7-2 record, they seem to be doing the right thing. But obviously, with the Ravens, maybe they want to go young. Maybe Trevor Siemian is the future for not Trevor Siemian. Maybe Paxton Lynch is the future for that team. But we'll see as time goes on. Obviously, I think the Ravens will probably be a better team for him, whereas Broncos is pretty much a win now. And with them unloading him for a guy like Joe Flacco, who's been there and done that, obviously, it's working for both teams. If the Ravens want to, try to rebound and restart, start off fresh, then Paxton Lynch is the way to go. And I think with Joe Flacco, obviously, he seems to be the way to go for Denver as well. So that's my take on it.
Okay, now we're going to also compare two star wide receivers getting traded this year. Odell Beckham gets traded to the Buffalo Bills in a shocking trade, and Alshon Jeffrey, he gets traded to the Denver Broncos. Speaking of the Broncos, now again, the Broncos are 7-2, the Bills are 6-3. Odell Beckham did go down with the injury today. We'll check more and see how he is for that. But out of those two things, which team you think won? You got Sammy Watkins and Odell Beckham pairing up, or you have Demarius Sanders and Alshon pairing up?
I mean, if once Odell gets healthy, and who knows when that will be, but Odell matched up with a Sammy Watkins in that division, I mean, those two dudes can, they could do a lot for that team. Obviously, the Bills are still in the mix, I would assume, based off their record. They should be still in the mix to make some noise, and maybe once they get Odell back later on in the season, maybe they'll start get going. But obviously, I think Alshon was actually a decent pickup as well. I think he complements DT very well over there with that system, especially with a guy like Joe who's willing to throw it up and let it fly. So both teams, I think, will do wonders with those additions. Obviously, we have to see what Odell does with Sammy Watkins, man. But I'm scared of that duo. Like those two together, they could do some real damage over there.
Yeah, you could get a very elite guy. It seems like the Bills are trying to copy the formula of the Raiders having a Amari Cooper and a Michael Crabtree. It seems like we are going more into the offense of having two superstar wide receivers winning in the NFL. Let's move on to some rookies. Now, typically, rookies don't get traded a lot, and we've had a lot of rookies traded. But let's talk about some big rookie names who got traded. Corey Coleman got traded to the Tennessee Titans for Kendall Wright and a couple of the players. But then Jalen Ramsey got traded to the Oakland Raiders. Now, they did face off earlier in the year. It seems like Ramsey won that matchup, but in terms of the team play, the Raiders are currently at 5-4, and the Titans are sitting here at 8-1. So do you think that the Rams defense will get better with Ramsey, or you feel like the Titans offense got way better with Corey Coleman?
It's crazy because those two teams matched up earlier in the year, and obviously the Raiders got the best of them. But obviously I think Oakland seeing what Tennessee was trying to do, and obviously with those two guys being in the same conference, they might match up again later on in the future. Who knows what happens with the Raiders? Obviously the Tennessee Titans, they're doing their thing right now. Pretty much I think we're only one loss on the year, so they pretty much handling their business. But obviously the Raiders are looking forward to I guess, moving towards the future. Obviously picking up Jalen Ramsey with Khalil Mack, with him with that pass rush and, with Jalen Ramsey, playing corner. Those two dudes can be a nice duo on defense as well to complement what's going on with that offense. But obviously Tennessee Titans, man, they're doing their thing over there. I think a lot of teams in the AFC are starting to pay attention to those guys, and they trying to find a way to match up against them. So can't blame them.
Okay, now let's talk about some shocking trades again. New England, not a team known for trading players. Which trade do you think was more out of the ordinary for the Patriots? Trading Jimmy Garoppolo to the Browns, their backup, who looks like their future quarterback after the Brady era, or trading Rob Gronkowski to the Patriots, to the Tennessee Titans, I should say. Which trade you think was more shocking to you?
I think the Gronk trade was more shocking. I could understand, moving from Jimmy Garoppolo. Obviously with Brissett still there, maybe you feel like you can just go in that direction, or maybe looking to draft maybe a future quarterback, depending on how they fall in the draft and stuff like that. But Gronk was probably the more eyebrow raising trade, because I didn't see that one coming. Obviously, Gronk is known to be probably the best tight end in the game, and for them to trade him to somebody, especially in the conference, like I said, Tennessee's Titans is a team that's obviously on the rise. They're doing their thing, and to trade your best weapon over to another team that you might have to face later on in the season, that was a bold move, man. But Bill, he's known to do those types of things, and we'll see how it plays out. But I think that one was questionable on his part.
Yeah, nobody saw Gronkowski getting traded to the Titans. That was a big move that kind of shocked everybody. And, like you said, you got Brissett. You could just get another quarterback in the draft for the Patriots to move on post-Brady era. But let's move on to Green Bay. A couple last topics. Which trade you think was more helpful to Green Bay, getting rid of Lacy or acquiring Anthony Barr?
I've been paying very, very close attention to what's going on in Green Bay. Obviously, we know that they coming off of a okay year, a previous year, but this year, things seem to be a little bit different. Obviously, they seem to be up and down. I think at this point in the season, they may be maybe 3-6 or 4-5, something around that range. But what's going on in Green Bay is, it's really probably the most shocking thing of the year so far. They're still trying to figure out things, and I think moving Eddie Lacy, I just think that based on his previous years, he probably just doesn't fit their system. They wanted to go with a little bit more speed coming out the backfield. Obviously, Lacy is a power back, so that I didn't think they was really using him to his best abilities this year, which explains why they're having an up and down year. They're still trying to find an identity. I think defensively, bringing in Anthony Barr and actually moving him from outside to inside, I think that's going to be a great move for them, in the future, long term. Obviously, Clay Matthews is still the anchor of that defense, but I think Anthony Barr will learn from him. And then once Clay Matthews moves on, he will find, him anchoring that defense as well. So I think both moves are good moves for those teams. I actually moving Lacy for a pick out of the Ravens. I think they're second and third. I think he got from that team. So the Packers is actually, like I said, they're looking forward towards the future. Obviously, with these running backs in this draft class, I think they'll manage to find somebody to replace Lacy in the future. But Anthony Barr was a great pickup.
Okay, and a couple last topics. It's a rule change that the commissioners have been talking about and the owners have been talking about when it comes to trading, that some people are saying that with Ziggy Ansah getting traded, who was out for about 8 weeks when he got traded about a couple weeks back to the Browns, and then you had Anthony Barr, who's out a couple weeks when he got traded to the Packers. Some people are saying they're suggesting a rule that maybe you shouldn't be able to trade players when they are injured. And I just want to get your thoughts on that real quick. Do you feel like they should just keep the rule that just trading is, trade whoever, or you think if they are injured, they should not be traded?
Oh, I'm iffy about it. I think, in the past, I don't think you were able to move a guy if he was hurt, especially if he was out for a while. But obviously now, teams are willing to take that risk. Green Bay were able to give up. I believe they gave up Sam Shields for him and a couple of picks for Anthony Barr. Obviously, knowing that he was going to be out a couple of weeks, as well with the Cleveland Browns, which is the Cleveland one is real tricky to me because obviously, Ansah, he was going to be a guy that I guess to help beef up that defensive line. And with him being out 8 weeks, maybe Cleveland is looking towards the future. Maybe they're trying to tank. Maybe they're trying to call the season. Obviously, giving up pieces, young pieces at that. Maybe they're trying to rebuild as well. I will keep it the way it is because obviously a team knows who they're getting. So if they're willing to take that risk, it may be more risk than reward. But that's on them. So I will hope that the rule stays the same. But I wouldn't be surprised if the commissioner decides to tweak it up a bit.
Yeah, those are just a couple questions we had to talk about. But I think that's going to be it on the trade deadline. We'll be back more so going into the playoffs, talking about what teams we feel like can win the Super Bowl when that time comes. And we will also be here for the free agency and for the draft. So you have anything else you want to say, Tom?
No, I have no. That's pretty much it, man. Trade deadline, that was, with all the trades going on. It's an exciting, time in the NFL right now. So I hope the guys out there, hope the fans are enjoying what's happening. I know me being an analyst, I'm excited for what's going to happen in the future, man. So it's a lot of storylines going on right now. But as time goes on, we'll see how everything plays out.
And it must suck for those people who's buying NFL jerseys left and right. But hey, it's more money for the NFL, I see. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Thanks for joining us on this trade deadline talking about the trade deadline, all the trades going on. And I'm Chris Berman, and I'm signing out.